Rome founded at least 700 years before Christ, and Rome has collapsed 15th century after Christ. So it's very long time, more than 2 millennia. So comprehend this very long history of Rome, we have to dissect it into different eras, like Regnum era, or Respublica, or Principatus, or Dominatus. The first era, Regnum era, is the kingdom era. At that time, Rome has only one magister, Rex. It was the king. So it had the legislative power, it has the executive power, and he has the judicial power. So legislative, executive, and judicial. Rex. Only one guy. So 509 before Christ, the Roman citizens rise against the king and banished him from the city, and they instead created a new system which is named as Respublica, which means, actually I can translate it into English as Commonwealth, I think, because res is means something that people possess, it's wealth, and publica is the common, everyone. So Respublica, Commonwealth. Yes, we might make this translation, I think. So in the Respublica era, we have several different magisters, okay, and they were serving for a limited amount of time. So now we have separation of powers. So legislative power is in a different institution. The executive power is vested by different magisters, different officers, and judicial power is vested by some other magister, and they are only serving for a limited amount of a time. Afterwards, and I think it was 79 before Christ, we have the Principatus era. After the assassination of Julius Caesar, there have been some internal conflicts among the Romans, and at the end of this internal conflict, Caesar's nephew Octavius prevailed, and he became the emperor, but he didn't call himself as the emperor. Instead, he called himself as the princeps, which means the first citizen. So he was claiming himself as just a citizen, and he was claiming that all the Romans still living inside a respublica, in a republic, but actually it was not a republic anymore, because Octavius vested several different offices on himself until his death, actually. So he became kind of a rex again, but he was claiming that they were in a republic. So he was actually lying to the people. But actually, we still have those institutions of Respublica during the Principatus era. Afterwards, with the 3rd century crisis, Emperor Diocletianus changed the system, and he starts the Dominatus era. With the Dominatus era, we don't have that pretension of the falsely existence of the Respublica, but instead Diocletianus calls himself as Dominus, which means the sole ruler. So he is emperor now, really, and we don't have a Respublica, even as de jure, because before that we had at least a Respublica de jure, but now we don't have any Respublica after all. But the problem is when the Dominatus era ends, because there is a kind of debate between the historians. Some claim at 476 it is the end of the Dominatus era, because at 476 the city of Rome has been sacked and the Western Roman Empire has been collapsed. But we still have the Eastern Roman Empire. It continues its existence. And some claim it is 565 because it is the end of the reign of the Emperor Justinian, because Emperor Justinian made Corpus Juris Civilis. It's a very important piece of work for the history of Roman law. So for some historians, they want to add him inside the Dominatus era. So they claim it is the end of Dominatus era, is the end of his era actually. But there are some historians also claim end of the Dominatus era is 610, because it is when Emperor Heraclius' reign starts, and he changed the official language of the Roman Empire from Latin to Greek. And with him, now we have a different cultural Rome, with a different culture, not Latin anymore, but Greek now. So some claim with Heraclius, the Rome changed, so it is the end of the Dominatus era. And some claim the end of the Dominatus era actually is end of the Roman Empire with the 15th century, when in 1453 the Turks conquered the city. Now the Dominatus era has been finished. But even after the fall of Constantinople, fall of Istanbul, we still have some other state claiming themselves as the Roman Empire, such as Russia, for instance, because Caesar, Tsar actually means Caesar in Russian. So Russians claims themselves as the Caesars of the Rome and claim that Moscow is the new Rome now because they are Pravoslav, because they follow the religion of the Roman Empire of Istanbul, because they are the Orthodox, and they have some marriage connection with the Byzantine dynasty. By the way, Byzantinians never called themselves as the Byzantinians. They called themselves as the Romans. That Byzantinian name invented afterwards, after the collapse of Istanbul. So Russians claim themselves as new Roman Empire, and now they use the two-headed eagle, because two-headed eagle was the symbol of the Roman Empire. Actually, Roman Empire has the symbol of two-headed eagle because Rome was divided as the Eastern Rome and Western Rome. Before that, when Rome was united, only there was one Rome. Rome's symbol was eagle, because before the Christianity, the main god of the Roman Parthenon was Jupiter, which is equals to the Zeus in the Greek Parthenon, and his symbol was eagle. So because of that, eagle was the symbol of the Roman Empire. When they become a mighty empire and divided into two sections, that eagle turned into a two-headed eagle. And afterwards, any other state claimed themselves as the Roman Empire, they continue to use that symbols. Today's Russian state symbol is a two-headed eagle because of they used to claim themselves as the Roman Empire. Or you can see that two-headed eagle symbol also in Austria and Germany, because they also claim themselves as the Holy Roman Empire. Because in the 8th century, when the emperor in Istanbul was a woman, Empress Irene, the Romans claimed in the Roman church, in the Rome city of Rome, claimed that a woman cannot be an emperor. So they coronated Charlemagne as the sole ruler of the Roman Empire, and so he became a new Roman emperor as the Holy German Roman Empire. Okay, and also when the Turks conquered the city of Istanbul, they also claimed themselves as the new Roman emperors. Well, why not? After all, they are now ruling in the capital of the Roman Empire, and conqueror Mehmed II claimed themselves as the Kaiseri Rum, which means Caesar of the Rome. Kaiser, Caesar, Chazar, they are all the same actually. So he also claimed himself as the Roman Emperor. So the Turks, the Russians, and the Germans, they all claimed themselves as the new Romans after the collapse of Roman Empire. And it really affected our entire history, that mighty state. I maybe told you before that people didn't want to destroy Rome actually. They want to become Rome. So the Germans, the Turks, all other kinship societies who are prevailing against the Romans, they were not actually wanted to destroy the Romans, but they wanted to become Romans in the first place. So that's what their ideology was. Because for them, the Rome was this state, the empire. It was the sole power in the Mediterranean basin. So people wanted to be the Rome. That's why we have several different Romes after the collapse of Roman Empire.